This is Worldwide Flava Network. Coast to coast and worldwide.
The views, information, or opinions expressed on the broadcast of Worldwide Flava Network are solely those of the individuals involved and does not represent those of Worldwide Flava Network and Live365.com. Worldwide Flava Network is not responsible and does not verify for accuracy of the information contained on any live or recorded broadcast available for listening on the site.
You've tuned in to the Friday Night Live Show with your boy, Deron Big Status Peaks.
Your girl, Val Jenkins.
And Shut Up Shannon, the voice of the people.
Where community meets awareness, struggle meets breakthrough, and entertainment meets education.
On the Worldwide Flava Network.
Every single Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Baby.
Yes.
Hey, you guys, this is Anika from Anika Tells All.
Tune in every Thursday from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Worldwide Flava Network. See you then.
This show is being sponsored by Worldwide Flava Network. If you are looking to have your own radio show, come and join us here on WWFN Online Radio. Contact us via our website, www.worldwideflavanetwork.com.
This girl's amazing. I don't know why I'm captivated. She's got my mind a sucker for her. She's got control. This girl is magic and she's messing with my soul. She's the type you don't bring home to mama. Her attitude is ignorant, yeah. And even though she brings me so much drama, I feel her love is heaven sent, yeah. Oh, baby, hey, what she do to me? She's got my heart and my soul. I don't wanna let go, no. It's kinda crazy that I love her so much when all she ever does is cause me pain. Without her loving right here by my side, it won't take long before I go insane. But she's the type of girl you can't marry. Her attitude is ignorant, yeah. And even though she brings me so much drama, I feel her love is heaven sent. Oh, baby, hey, yeah. Oh. She's got my heart and my soul. I don't wanna let go, no. Peep game. I know it sounds a little crazy because she's a little crazy. But I mean, it's the way that she walks, the way that she talks, the way that she, you know, it's magic. The girl done put a spell on me, and I think I like it. Yep. And I know it's kinda hard to understand it. Her attitude is ignorant, yeah. And even though she brings me so much drama, I feel her love is heaven. See, baby, what you do to me, baby. Hey, hey. Yeah. She's got my heart, my soul. I don't wanna let her go. No, no. Look at me. I'm in love, and it feels so good to me. Hey, hey. She's got my heart and my soul. I don't wanna let go. No, 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 no. So you do, baby. Ooh, hey, yeah. Oh, yeah. What she do? Hey, yeah.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's your girl, A. Michelle, here on the Hot Topics Live tonight. Oh my gosh, it's been a wonderful day. The weather has been absolutely beautiful. I hope everyone has had a wonderful day today and have enjoyed this day. I've had a very good day. In spite of it all, I have had a very good day. I want to dedicate my show tonight to my grandmother. Every show that I do for the next few weeks or so is going to be dedicated to my grandmother. I lost my grandmother on this morning, and to God be the glory for the life that she lived. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to say that she was my grandmother, and I am just so thankful for her life. Shout out to my family who are all spending some time together, and just want to, shout out my girl, AI Photography. She lost her grandmother. She's actually doing her grandmother's viewing today, and so I wanted to shout out to her as well, and shout out to the Mosby family as well. Just want to shout out to them. They had a loss in their family as well. So I'm just, grateful for the opportunity to say thank you for my grandmother, Lord. I just want to thank her. Thank you for giving me her as my grandmother. And so tonight's show, we're going to have some fun waiting for our guest to arrive. She'll be here shortly. It sounds like I think she just came in the door. My girl Jackie, Queen Jackie, I'm so grateful she could fit it in her schedule and she could come and hang out with us on tonight. Come on in and have a seat, lady, and relax yourself. You good. Don't stress. You good. And so I'm just grateful. We're on the heels of Jay Treese, one of my good homies. He's getting ready to release his album. And so we're going to listen to something he has real quick, and then we're going to get right into our show tonight with Queen Jackie. She the woman. That's all I can tell y'all. She the woman. She fun. She funny. She's knowledgeable. All that good stuff about the whole relationship thing. And I know that I have some knowledge, but I aspire to have some of the knowledge that she has, and I learn from her every time that we have any kind of interaction. There's always an opportunity to learn from this lady. She's just phenomenal in what she does. And so we're going to take one little moment. We're going to listen to a little bit of Jay Treese, and then we're going to come back and hang out with Queen Jackie, our intimacy coach. We're going to have some fun with her on tonight. So this is your girl, A. Michelle. We're going to listen to Jay Treese right now.
Darkness of the night, I can tell You wanna see something more than the moonlight. Bitter better, I feel your heart. It's anticipating love. Oh, oh. Introduction of our first time. Baby, all of me is yours. There's no doubt I'm into you. Where your body turns me on, oh, oh. I can tell you feel it too. As I rock you in my arms. Bitter better, I feel your heart. It's anticipating love. Oh, oh. Introduction to our first time. Baby, all of me is yours. Tonight, baby girl, let me love you right. With pleasure. Tonight, baby girl, let me hold you tight. With pleasure. Tonight, baby girl, let me love you right. With pleasure. Tonight, baby girl, let me love you right. With pleasure. Can you help me with this love jolt I have for you? So attracted to you, baby, that I don't know what to do. Can you help me with this love jolt I have for you? So attracted to you, baby, baby.
And we are back. It's your girl, A. Michelle, here on the Hot Topics Live. And we are so excited to have as our guest tonight, Queen Jackie, our intimacy coach. She is just like, when I tell y'all, she everything. She's a radio host. She does a lot. And I want her to, first give us a little bit about who Jackie is. And then we're going to get into how she got into what she does with the whole intimacy thing. Because it's so intriguing. Because for me, I've always been one that, read a lot just to be able to be just so diverse in what my knowledge is. And when it comes to the intimacy, not just in a relationship far as a man and a woman, but just family and friends and how you handled all of that. And so, when met you and knowing what you did as it relates to even that portion of intimacy of a relationship and how you move and things like that, it was just so intriguing to find somebody who has that same thought like you. Like, wow,
Right,
because you really don't really talk about it, because then you looking like people be looking at you like, what's wrong with you?
People look at you like that because they don't
understand
understand it.
right.
That's the issue that I always run into.
Wow, Jackie. Okay, so I know it ain't just me. Because I was like, I thought, it was like one time you sitting talking to somebody and all of a sudden you find out they try and look at you like, why she think like that? Why she,
she's so weird.
Right.
Because I get that a lot. Like,
wow.
She a little different. Jackie crazy. I get all of that. I'm crazy because I want to have the cataclysmic orgasm. I'm crazy because I want more than just the physical. I want that all out connection with someone, does
Right.
that make me crazy because
I
I'm
guess it
comfortable in my
does.
skin?
I guess it does. But who is Queen Jackie? Let's find out who she is first. Then maybe they can get an understanding a little bit about the intimacy coach. Maybe I don't know. But who is Queen Jackie? Let the people know who you are. Say hello and see who the people are.
Hello, Facebookers, Instagrammers, the Worldwide Flavor Network.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
so honored to be here. I was looking forward to this interview all week. So let me just give a brief background without being boring.
You're not boring by not even a little bit, y'all. Let's be clear.
So I am a holistic life and intimacy coach. What I've always had a fascination with intimacy and love. And I tell people this all the time, and they look at me like, oh, something's a little off with her. But at a young age, I was interested in not just sex. I remember I watched my first porn video at 9.
Really?
Yeah.
You were that young?
I was the kid that got the daggone tape stuck in the VCR. So my parents knew it was me. But it wasn't for me, and watching it, I was so intrigued by the intertwining of the bodies.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so from that, I was always curious and wanted to learn more. So fast forward to adulthood, I remember I had my first sexual experience and I was like, is this it? You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I was like, okay, it has to be more to it than this.
Wow.
You
That's what you
know,
said the first
That's
time?
what, because it was just, okay, the shit hurt, you know? Oh,
keep it a little
I gotta
clean.
keep it- I'm
Keep it a
trying to
little
keep it
clean.
clean.
Keep it a little
I'm
clean.
working
But
on
it's
that.
okay. It's okay because you know this is that night. This is that kind of show. Hot Topics
Okay.
Live is a little more edgy. So I
Okay.
let folk get a little more edgy on Hot Topics
Okay,
Live.
cool. So, then I said, okay, this can't be it. Let me learn more.
So Jackie, were you a little more mature? Were you, and not to cut you off, but were you, when you said that, were you in a more mature place or were you kind of immature in your?
No, that's the thing that people don't understand. This is a little deep for me because I've always had that fascination and I always knew that it was so much bigger than what was marketed to us.
Okay.
And I feel like I feel like nowadays intimacy is such a lost art.
Mm.
And I say that because we're so busy focused on the physical side of things. We don't know how to establish a mental and spiritual connection with one another because at the end of the day, we're chasing the orgasm.
Mm.
So fast forward into my 20s, I ended up becoming a romance counselor for dating service.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's levels to this. Folks.
Wow.
I didn't just wake up and say,
I want to do this.
I want to do this. You know what I mean? So I needed to have a clear understanding and to help others tap into who they are so that they could get the most out of intimacy. And I think a lot of people don't understand it starts with you first.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have love and appreciate you and all of your flaws. I feel like until you're able to do that, you're not going to have that, as I like to call it, that cataclysmic event because you still are closed off to a side of yourself that you're afraid to tap into.
Mm.
You know, so after becoming a romance counselor, I went to school for massage therapy and I worked in a salon. Well, I didn't realize how powerful touch could be.
Wow.
So I had a husband and wife in the room. The husband was getting the massage. And I enjoyed working with them. But on session number 3, I gave him a happy ending. And I wasn't trying to. It was just he had just let himself go to the
Wow.
point where he opened himself up to me. And I think the interesting thing about touch is when you're touching someone, a person's body can reject you
Absolutely.
and you feel it. So he was so free. And I just remember him yelling, and I turned beet red. Like, what the
world was going on here?
And so the wife was looking at me and she said, well, he really became free with you. You know, I wasn't sure what her reaction was going to be. And then he got up like, God. So from that moment, I said, okay, I didn't realize how significant touch could be, and I wanted to learn more.
Okay.
So from there, I ended up taking a class in Tantra, which Tantra is the combination of spiritual, sensuality, and sexuality becoming one. So I wanted to share that with people because think about it, as a kid coming up, I'm 53 years old. And
don't she look good, y'all?
At that time, parents wasn't having conversations about sex. And the church, a lot of times, I felt like made it seem like such an ugly thing if you weren't married.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of couples got married after the woman became pregnant because it was more out of obligation. But I think when they went into those marriages, they didn't have any idea
of what they were.
Right, exactly. It was about the commitment. But I felt like they never took the time to research love and intimacy. So a lot of people were together for years and had no idea as to who they were.
But Jackie, I don't think people even realize about the whole, like they don't talk about that even in premarital counseling. And maybe you have some counselors that do it today, but they don't talk about that intimacy of wanting each other without the sex.
Exactly.
Like when you desire somebody without the sex, that's some real intimacy.
Yes.
When you can feel that person a part of you and there is no sex, even if you've never had sex with them, or even if you've had sex with them and you're not around them that much, that intimacy that you've acquired with that person is just so involved in you. And they don't talk about that.
They don't talk about it because it's still taboo.
Okay.
And I feel like at this point in 2019, sex and intimacy is still taboo.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. And what I come to realize, first of all, I think people aren't doing their research.
Okay.
For one. I think number two, people are so afraid to step out of their comfort zone.
Yes. They are scared of that.
But if you are not willing to step out of your comfort zone, how are you going to be able to go to that next level of fulfillment? You know, you got to start somewhere. So I would hope that premarital counselors are talking about this because in a lot of relationships, intimacy is a problem. After they've been together a few years, they don't know how to keep it fresh. You know, it's not just that lay down, jump up and down on top of me, and then it's over with.
Hanging from a chandelier tonight, but then the next night it's like, come on.
And you're still unfulfilled. You may have had an orgasm. And here's another fact that I think men need to pay attention to. I would say probably it's hard for a man to give a woman a vaginal orgasm. Let me say this again, because I want y'all men to check your egos on this.
Wow.
It is really hard for a man to give a woman a vaginal orgasm.
Wow.
Some of it is because a lot of women have suffered trauma and they haven't come to terms with that trauma. Some of it is the woman hasn't taken the time to learn what turns her on, you know, and I'm a big fan of masturbation. Let me put that out there. Okay. I meditate and masturbate. So there's no shame in my game because I know who I am.
Right.
And I think another part of that is when that woman doesn't know her body, she can't explain to that man what
She needs.
she needs. And then for those women open-minded enough to share that information with the man, here's where the man ego come in at. Don't tell me what to do. I've been pleasing women all this time.
Say that, Jackie.
I'm just
Woo!
saying. I gotta tell you, fellas, it's not about what you're not doing right. It's that she's discovered the sexual goddess within her. So she's trying to help you take her to the next level. So don't look at it like she's complaining.
Right.
If you're good to her, she's going to reciprocate.
Right.
But if you let your ego take over and you're like, don't tell me, blah, 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 that intimacy is always going to be at the same level.
Y'all better share this stuff with your friends tonight, because she giving y'all some good stuff, brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Because intimacy is more than just having some sexual encounter.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than that. And she giving some good information, because men, just as you said, that ego got them so tripped up.
It's true.
And then they wonder why. Because women won't. Most women will not stray unless it is a lot of components to it. It's a lot of components. But if she's being met in her intimacy, in her mindset intimacy, is not so much just her physical, but even that mental intimacy, you don't have a lot of women that will step out too much.
And the thing that men have to understand, the majority of women, when they do step out, it's not for the physical. We're looking for that emotional connection that you refuse to give us because you refuse to listen. And that's what we crave a lot of. We want that emotional support. And I want to make it clear that I'm not bashing men, because women, we have egos too.
Absolutely.
So when that man is asking you to do something a little different,
try
it. Don't say I'm not doing that, because then you just shut him down and bruised his ego a bit.
Right.
You became selfish.
Or send him somewhere else. You basically gave him the pass, the whole pass, the whole pass. You gave him the pass to say, okay, not that it's right.
It's not right.
I'm not saying it's right.
Absolutely.
But at least consider, don't be so quick to say, I ain't doing that. That ain't me.
Don't shut him down. The same way we don't like to be shut down. You have to think about your partner from a different standpoint. Put yourself in their shoes. I feel like as married couples, I don't think that there should be a whole lot of limits to what you're willing to do, because that's your lifelong partner. Unless they're talking about bringing a third party into the relationship, and that's a little different. But
right?
It depends on what you're into. If y'all have that type of relationship, so be it.
Right.
What goes on in your bedroom should stay just right there.
Right.
So, but I'm just saying, keep an open mind, because it's always about the team first. And I think we miss that a lot of times when we get married. We still think in terms of the single person instead of the team. Everything that you do should be for the benefit of that team. And even having conversations, you got to be able to talk to one another about pretty much any and everything.
Right.
Because that should be your best friend.
Say that again, Jackie.
That should definitely be your best friend. There should be nothing that you can't say to your significant other. And if there is, then you haven't bonded on that next level game. So that's something to think about. And did you marry your friend?
Wow.
Because if you didn't, then you're going to be limited to what you can discuss with them.
Wow.
So, and I've learned a lot of things being married for a long time. My ego was huge.
Really?
Oh my God, yes.
You're so humble, I never could imagine. Some people you can kind of pick it up, but I can't even imagine that with you.
I was spoiled. So, and being spoiled, and I think I got married at a time. I got married like probably a few months after my mom died. So I still didn't know who I was.
Okay.
I needed to connect to something because I felt like I was getting ready to spiral out of control.
Okay.
So I had no idea what marriage was all about. I know what I saw, but what you see is different because what worked for your parents may not work for you. And I was definitely different than both my parents.
Wow.
So I couldn't go into a relationship expecting the same type of relationship that my parents had.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we make the mistake. We base our relationships on what we saw, but you have to create your own history. And I feel like we fall short on that a lot of times because what worked for them is completely different for you in the time that we live in now.
Correct.
So,
because they definitely weren't out there.
Exactly.
Let me just say that they definitely weren't experiencing and exploring at those levels too much back
they
then.
was just doing basic stuff.
Right.
I mean, when I was coming up in my neighborhood, when you started talking about oral sex, you knew the girls in the neighborhood that was giving head.
Really?
Because it wasn't a popular thing in the Black community.
Correct.
For Caucasians, that was the norm.
Right. So that wasn't no big deal.
It was three girls in the neighborhood that we knew was giving head.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
As sisters, we finally got on the bandwagon, but for a long time we were so against it.
It was like that was definitely taboo. Like that wasn't even a thought.
Exactly.
Like what? What?
Yeah, exactly.
And the only ones that I knew was the
saying?
only ones I knew who did were those who, again, who either worked in a very Caucasian environment, went to school in a very Caucasian environment, and that's where they picked it up. But other than that,
we wasn't doing that. We wasn't doing that. Interestingly enough, though, in my neighborhood, as much trash talking as I did. And I did
you was a trash talker too, Jackie. I was too, Jackie.
Everybody in the neighborhood knew I was a virgin. So to shut me down when I really went left, they would say, "Oh, shut up, virgin."
Wow.
But I could talk it like I was doing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think for me, before I even was penetrated, I was getting head.
Wow.
Because I was scared to be penetrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when I really started dating, I was like, I am never dating anybody that's not giving head. Okay.
What? Oh my goodness.
I used to ask that up front. Look, I got a question for you.
And there wasn't a lot of guys doing it back then.
Wasn't a lot of
so
guys
it
doing
was
it.
like, ooh.
But I liked older guys. So
Okay.
My first real boyfriend was a police officer.
Okay.
And let me just tell you, he turned the sister out.
Wow.
So it became a requirement on the application.
Whoa.
Like, listen up. I need to know if you go downtown.
If you don't, don't waste your time because you're going to be wasting mine.
But that's as far as it's going,
Okay.
So I learned early on what I liked. And so I always say to people, never be afraid to experiment. Because I think, and especially with yourself, I think that in order for you to get the most enjoyment out of sex, you got to learn yourself.
I don't think people know themselves though, Jackie, in that aspect of knowing who they are, in the aspect of that period of knowing who they are in any intimacy way. Because half of the time, if you really ask somebody what they're looking for and what they need or what their desires are, they can't even really explain it. They can't really tell you because they don't really know who they are.
Right.
And so when they meet somebody who tells them what they want, then they're trying to achieve that, but they still not getting their own need met.
So it's like one partner is being satisfied and the other is still not
knowing if they being satisfied.
Right, exactly. but they won't take the time. And I think a lot of that has to do with also being in the church, um, because I think at times we're made to feel ashamed of our bodies. We are more than just an incubator for babies.
Absolutely. That's true.
So, in order to be that sexual goddess, you have to explore with yourself. I've never been afraid to touch myself. And I've learned through becoming a tantric practitioner to meditate and masturbate.
Okay, so let them know what that is, because they won't know. I know only because you've told me before. Tell them what that is.
For me, what that is, I'm touching myself while I'm meditating. For those of you that meditate, you're in your moment of silence, but I'm exploring myself at the same time. And it's not always to have an orgasm, it's to love up on myself, to touch myself in the loving way. And as I'm going through that, I love this part of my body. I love this. I need to work on this area, but I still love it just the same. It's just getting in tune with yourself. And if you want someone else to love you, you got to be loving and accepting of yourself. So for most people probably think of masturbation as just the end all to having an orgasm to satisfy a need, but it's bigger than that for me. It's loving every part of my body. There are moments where, yeah, I might just want to have an orgasm during that time, but a lot of times it's just that connection and opening up my love chakra.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I feel like if you don't learn to love and accept your body, wouldn't it be hard for someone else to?
Wow. Wow, that's a powerful statement right there, Jackie. Because I don't think people even see it that way and look at it that way.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of people always looking at the whole physical piece and
Right.
that kind of stuff, but they don't look at the whole conglomerate of it all.
Right.
That it comes together beyond just that. And I'm gonna tell you, I learned a lot of my stuff from Cosmopolitan. I don't know if you remember that magazine.
I remember that magazine.
But
They had
one of
some
my
good
Caucasian
articles in
friends
there.
back in the day, one of my Caucasian friends turned me on to that magazine and said, because like I said, that conversation, they were the only friends I could talk to about that
Because
weird
they were on
stuff.
the level of
The weird
openness
stuff.
that we
I
hadn't
like I couldn't talk to
experienced.
that with the black girlfriends because they looking at me like, dang, really? Like
Right,
you think like that?
Exactly.
But it was like they, on the other hand, were different. So they could understand the thoughts that I was having. Like you said, I wasn't quite as young as you were having those kind of thoughts and curiosity, but I was very curious once I did get involved. And it was just like, beyond, like you said, it was beyond the whole sexual piece, the intimacy, the loving, the what you're missing piece, and I kind of, know that not having my father at the time in my life played a major part on me really being able to really love a man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To open myself. I was looking for love, but then it was different. You know what I'm saying? So it put me in a different place. So just, hearing what you're saying and knowing now, like back then, just wasn't nobody thinking like that. And that magazine helped me feel a little more comfortable because of different stories. Like that was the only magazine back in the day I would read that thing cover to cover.
I know it.
That magazine was a cover, right?
There.
Always kept you, and even like some stuff you was in your mind, like Jackie. That's for husband.
Yeah.
That's not just for somebody you're dating. This was, those were different things that I learned. That some things you just left for the husband, please.
Right. And that's a great point too. I think a lot of times because of upbringing, we create these ideas where I can't be sexually free with a guy that's not my husband. But if you're not ready for that next level of relationship,
correct.
why should you shortchange yourself because of an idea that was sold to you as a kid?
That's true. That's
you know, I think we judge women that are sexually free.
true.
It doesn't, because you're not to that point. I don't feel like you have a right to judge them.
Well, I think because men have been so free to be the way they are
Mhm.
that, women were supposed to be the wholesome woman.
Mhm.
But as there were women in church who were also a little extra, a
Okay.
little freaky and a whole bunch of other
Mm.
stuff. So therefore, you can't put them in a box and put
Right.
them in a box and put them in a box. Honestly, our brain works on what God gave us. I'm
Right,
sorry. So it's not
right.
like we choose to make our brain do what it does.
Right. And I think having an understanding of the power of being a woman.
Mhm.
God chose us to carry life.
Mm.
That's a big deal. And I feel like if women really, really understood that power, perhaps they would value themselves more.
Mm.
You have the power to bring life into the world. We have life within us before a man even enters us.
Wow. Didn't think of it that way though, Jackie.
Yeah. So I
Because
think
of
a
the-
lot of people don't. So they
Okay.
don't realize that, and men, we need you all. And I'm not saying that we bring forth life without you, but we are born with life. And when we start to have our cycle, we are producing eggs that need to be fertilized.
Mm.
And that's before a man enters us. We're still producing.
That's true.
So I feel like when women are unhappy, they birth a nation of unhappiness.
Wow.
So, and I need women to understand their power. If you understood your power, perhaps you wouldn't conduct yourself in a way that's less than.
True.
And that doesn't mean that I'm not putting anybody down, but you have to learn to value who you are.
Mhm.
We're queens, but if you want him to treat you like a queen, you have to conduct yourself as a queen.
Facts.
So the energy that you put out, you're always going to get it back. So if all you put out is trash, that's all you're going to get in return.
Facts. Facts. So Jackie, let's go back to something you were talking about. So we didn't touch in it, but you were talking about how unless a person wants multiple partners in their marriage or whatever. So what is your thought on the whole swinger thing? Because that's getting so. I used to only hear about that for people on the West Coast and things like that.
Yeah.
Now that's like it's becoming very popular. I'm not by no means saying it's a good thing or a bad thing for anybody. It don't work for me.
Right.
Okay.
And that's
I'm not
a
saying
clear
it's not right.
understanding,
That just doesn't work for me. I'm not
Right.
knocking those who choose to be involved in that. But what is that as it relates to when you're dealing with intimacy and all of that kind of thing?
What I've learned about the swingers lifestyle, because I had a couple on my very first show.
Okay.
I had a couple come on to the show. They had been married 10 years, and no, they had been married like 15 years, but 10 of the 15, they were swingers.
Really?
Yeah. And
Wow.
I think it's not like people think. It's not always about the sex. I think sometimes another party is brought into that relationship to it could be the two women have an intimate connection without being physically intimate.
Okay.
That woman might be willing to be a bit more adventurous with the husband than maybe the wife is. In this particular case, the wife was bisexual.
Oh, okay.
So
and he married her knowing that.
he married her knowing that.
Okay.
So she never had to hide who she was. And so they went into the swinging lifestyle together. I think by doing that, it bonded them.
Wow.
Yeah, it bonded them. But the problem that I find when I hear stories from different couples, someone always gets their feelings.
Yes, that's what I find.
Yeah, and I don't think everybody is mature enough to be able to pull that off. I have friends that have been doing it for like 20 plus years. They feel like it's the best thing since sliced bread. They've never had any issues in their relationship. And I think they're very selective on the people that they choose to swing with. And that's another thing. If you're doing it just for the sake of, I can have sex with multiple partners, I think you're missing what the lifestyle is actually about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it can get ugly. And I think one of the questions I asked the couple, what happens when one party decides, I no longer want to do this? His answer was, oh, that's never an option. But her body language said, oh, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah. And I think because he was getting, I felt like the way they were doing it, he was benefiting the most because he always had the two
Both.
women.
Mm-hmm.
But she wasn't allowed to bring a man into it. And that to me is when it's one-sided.
Oh, because she was bisexual, he wouldn't allow her to bring. Is that what it was?
Allow her to bring another man into the equation.
So then I don't feel that was fair.
And that's what I said. I was like, that seems more one-sided. If we're going to do this and I allow you to bring another woman into the mix, then you have to be open-minded enough to allow me to bring another man into the mix, or we're not doing it. Point blank. You know, and I think that's what happens a lot of times. I think that couples that are really into the lifestyle, they have these discussions beforehand.
Okay.
I think when I see a lot of younger people into it, they're thinking one way,
Sex only.
That's it.
Right.
What I find about that, people that are really serious into that lifestyle, a lot of times they're only willing to do business with one another because there's a level of trust that they have amongst them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a network in a sense.
Okay. Well, that may work for some folks. You know, I ain't knocking them. Let them do what they do. Let them do what they do.
I mean, there are all kinds of relationships now. I think the traditional marriage may not work for a lot of people.
Okay.
So people are experimenting. You know, I know they have these couples, they call them the throuple now. And I just saw
I missed that. What's that?
The throuple is usually, like it could be two women and a guy, or two men and a woman. And so they're intimate with one another.
Okay, I didn't know that's what it was called, but okay, got it. Okay.
So I mean, they have all these new titles and all, and then when I look at some religions that still push that the man can have more than one wife,
right?
Isn't that? I feel like that's so outdated.
Okay.
And I say that because, of course, it's a rule brought to the table by a man to benefit a man.
Facts.
But think about the psychological ramifications on the woman. Because if they don't have a say-so on you taking another wife, and you've convinced yourself that, oh, the wife is okay with it, how do you know if she's not allowed to voice her opinion?
Facts. But then she had a choice when she found out he wanted to do that, though, right, Jackie?
But when you think of, I'll use Islam. When, especially in the Middle East culture, a lot of them are allowed to have multiple wives because it's part of their religion. But the wife doesn't have a say-so on whether or not you can take another wife.
But don't they discuss that before they get married if he's one of those type of men?
But if they are raised in that religion, they don't have a say-so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they had a choice. I didn't know that was something they had to comply with. I thought the woman had a choice whether to decide if she really wants to still do that or if she does not. But
now,
okay.
if it's not, because that's religion based. So, but if it's a situation where a guy, decide, oh, I want another wife, well, I think that's illegal. That is illegal unless
I think
you
here
are
in
a
in the United
Muslim.
States, but in
Yeah.
other other countries, I believe they can, right?
Yeah,
In some
and I think
countries,
women still have multiple wives,
right?
but the women never have that option.
Wow.
So
she can't have two husbands, huh?
Can't have two husbands.
she can't have a husband on the east side and a husband on the west side. Dang.
And that was my point. I said, well, me being a Renaissance woman, if you're able to have two wives, then certainly I should be able to have two husbands. So we're not able to do anything that I'm not able to do.
Okay.
It has to benefit the team.
Absolutely. I think it should benefit the team.
It has to benefit the team.
If you're going to step out and do some stuff, then let it benefit the team.
Exactly.
Like you said. Absolutely. So, Jackie, with the intimacy coaching, how do people kind of like, I know you have your advertising and things like that, but how people get to a place, do just the husband come or just the wife come, or do they come together? How does that whole piece work with you and you're coaching people?
A lot of times, believe it or not, I'm starting to get more calls from men.
Really?
I'm getting more calls from men because a lot of times they feel like women, it's funny because men want to add spice into the relationship, but women, think about the typical day for a woman. Work, getting the children together, come home, you cook dinner for those that do. And by the time you do all of that, you're tired. I think men have a hard time understanding that if we are not in the mood, we just probably just want to lay there and let you get on top of us and do your shit.
Right.
Keep it moving.
Right.
It's mental for us. We have to be in that mind frame. And sometimes it might take us 20 minutes to settle down, to be in the mood to want to do something. What happens is a lot of men feel like the women are keeping them at a distance. So they want to know, how can I get her more involved in our sex lives? How can I get her to, because sometimes women, when they have kids, they start to feel insecure about their body. So then they cover up. I had one couple where the guy was like, she only comes to bed with the big t-shirt on, but I still think my wife is beautiful, but she didn't. So when we feel inadequate, we're not going to feel sexual. So a lot of times men come and they want to help their wives. They'll ask what the process is or how we can get her involved. And I'm always like, let me have a conversation with her first. Right. Without you being here or over the phone, and see what's going on with her.
How do they receive that with the fact that a man is asking? Because it's different when a woman, but for the fact that a man is asking another woman to help them in that place, how does those women, how do they?
Some feel violated, like what's
going on in my bedroom. That's what I thought.
They go on a defense until really they get to know me.
Right.
And that's kind of like what the first session is about. It's not so much about tell me your problem.
Right.
We got to talk.
Okay.
I got to share, some of my story.
Okay.
And let you know that you're not the only one going through this. At some point in
who's
my
been through
relationship, I've been through some major challenges. And a lot of it was my own insecurities and ego. And so when you start to share, because people want to know that they can relate to you. And I always say I'm an open book. So I don't have anything that I'm ashamed of sharing, especially if it's to help someone else. So once I talk about the things that I've been through,
right,
they let down their guard.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
You know, and I think that's important, but I always applaud the men for making the connection.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And that lets me see that he's committed to the relationship.
Okay.
You know, where maybe not so mature man would just say, the heck with it, I'm going to find somebody that will.
Okay. Okay.
This is somebody that wants to save the marriage, where on the other hand, it's just somebody being selfish. You're not going to do it. I don't care what's wrong. If you can't take care of me, I'll find somebody that will.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey guys, y'all may send y'all questions. Y'all might have some good questions for because she everything. She knows that stuff. And I've learned stuff from her, but I do know even myself and all the studies that I've done as it relates to, intimacy and learning. I've not taken coaching classes, but I've read so much that I've had people come to me. I get people inboxing me, especially with our Hot Topics group. So we have a private group that's called Hot Topics, and we just do all kinds of topics on that group. And so inside that group, when we post different questions, my brother and I, Malik, we both always kind of like intrigue people more. So we'll kind of like play almost like devil's advocate sometimes. He plays more devil's advocate. I would always play more like the angel advocate sometimes. But then sometimes we'll flip the roles and, just trying to get people to be more in tune to themselves and what they're doing and answering, because sometimes, most of the time, the questions would come to us. So people would send us questions and then we would post them on our page. And then we're trying to help people get answers to what they are missing or need in their relationship. And so that's how, we started with the whole group and so then I decided, it's been plugging on me. Then we do the Hot Topics live show, and that would be where it encompasses, conversation. Every now and then we'll have one of the members of the group come and be a co-host. That's cool. Nobody was available today, so therefore I have no co-host with the but most of the time, and we have a nice group of people, but they have fun with it. We have a good time. Certain topics we can get 500 responses, and then we have some topics that'll keep us real low in the low numbers, but we can have some topics that can really take people really on the extreme. And so, guys, y'all can always send in any questions if y'all have any for Miss Jackie, because she, Queen Jackie knows a lot, and she has, I've watched her shows, I've watched her events that she's had, because she's had some like game stuff and toy stuff and like the what was it? I think you had a lingerie party one time y'all were doing. And it was just like, when you watch some of those things, you just sit back and it's nice and fun, because you're like, wow, these ladies are really enjoying what they're doing. And it didn't matter, because you had all different shapes and sizes. And that's the thing. People need to be comfortable with who they are, no matter what size they are. Unless you really trying to work on losing the weight, love who you are the way you are. I've been both fat and small, and I love me. Honestly, I liked me really as a thicker girl, but for health reasons, I had to make the choice to have a better quality of health to lose the weight. And so that's why I got smaller, but I like being a thicker girl. So, sometimes I still say I'm a fat girl, and they be like, stop playing, Edge. You ain't nowhere near fat. I be like, y'all don't understand. Y'all, these clothes is hiding stuff, but I like to have fun with it, because I want everybody to always feel comfortable. And that's one thing that, though people say that they feel like I'm mean sometimes, I am so far from it. But I never get that. But people, oh girl, they say I'm just so mean. But I know that for me, in who I am, is always, I want the best for people. And I want people to always feel comfortable. And so, like, I tell people, you look in my inbox, you see the questions, and people will ask whether they're in the group or not inside the group. So like, even like a show like tonight, we'll probably get, you'll probably get inboxes. I'll probably get inboxes after tonight, because people just are always open. And they don't want to make people know they open, but closed doors. That's what I was saying. They don't want everybody to know that they open to what they're open to.
And who cares?
Right.
I feel like at the end of the day, no one's living your life but you.
But I think people still have, as you say, the taboo-ness of, what's society deems us as. And so we have to be so careful, because as you see, people will constantly, especially on social media, will try to ream you through the coals, make you out to be this bad person. And that's not who
That's
you
not who you
always are.
are.
That's not always who the person is.
Mhm.
And so people tend to not want to put themselves out there.
Right.
And I respect them who are that way, but don't be ashamed of who you are and what you like and what
True.
you desire, because people also do that in relationships, Jackie.
Yeah, they hide.
They hide that.
Yeah.
As they know in my group, my word is the representative.
The representative. Amen.
I can't get with the representative.
Amen.
Come, I'm not a representative. I don't come as a representative. I don't.
Too much
It's
energy.
too much because I can't remember it all. I can't. But I don't know. They do it. They come with the representative. They sit up here. They decide they're gonna be the representative, and then they realize, oh, I really like Jackie. Oh, I really like Angie. I really like A Michelle. I really like her. Now you want to be who you really are. Now you done made me either like or not like the representative.
Right.
And most of the time I like the representative, and then I don't like who you really are.
Exactly. But what happens is the representative becomes so it requires so much energy, and you have to remember what you said to this person. I feel like that's so much work.
That's like telling lies, Jackie. That's like
anybody but Jackie. And I tell people this all the time. You're either going to like me or you're not.
That's
Either
it.
way, it's not my issue, it's yours.
Facts.
And that's
Facts.
how I live. I don't care if you like me, you love me, whatever the case may be, that's your issue. So I'm not going to stop being Jackie because it makes someone else uncomfortable. I'm not doing that.
But that's what people look for.
Yeah.
They want you to change, but have they really assessed themselves?
Exactly. I'm not
like, and then people have been posting, like somebody posted recently about, people need to stop not liking somebody because somebody else don't like them. Facts.
Now, I agree with that statement. If you haven't had the same experience with that person, then why the hell would you dislike them? And they did nothing to you.
Did nothing
That's
to
so
you.
Immature. And it just goes to show we have a lot of followers as opposed to leaders.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the social media has made people become more followers, as you said, than being that one to say, hey, I'm gonna be why I'm gonna dislike her? Why I'm gonna dislike him? Because of that.
Yeah, but that goes back to intimacy, because if you are not happy in your space, you're gonna find something wrong with everybody you come
because most of the time they don't like themselves.
They don't like themselves.
Absolutely.
And they inflict their own insecurities onto others as a way of deflecting. So I feel like people that get along with a lot of people, they've accepted who they are.
Yes.
I don't have time to sit around and say, he's this, she's that. I don't really care. Right. It has nothing to do with
nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be judging you on who they are. It's my interaction with you.
Exactly.
That's what's important to me.
Exactly.
And that plays such a part, in so many ways. As you said, that whole intimacy part of knowing who you are, liking who you are, and that makes a difference in how people interact with yourself. You interact with yourself as well as how you interact with other people. And when you interact with other people in such a way, and if you love you enough, you wouldn't even allow those kind of issues to filter in you.
Exactly. And it's amazing because we live in a society where our differences are made to divide us.
Absolutely. Say it again. It does.
Divide and conquer. That is how they're able to manipulate us. That is how they're able to get away with a lot of things that we see going on right now.
And I believe that happens in relationships, Jackie.
It does,
because people find themselves dividing and conquering the relationship and want to be playing odds against their own mate. Like if we're a team, we're a team. I'm not trying to, I'm your cheerleader, you my cheerleader. That's what it should be. But that's not what's happening today. It's like I want to beat you at your game. I want to do better than you and regardless that's your spouse. Why are you worried about trying to do better than them? Y'all, you win, she win. She win, you win. But that's not what's happening.
Because it's ego. And when you understand that you've allowed your ego to take over the relationship, then you can kind of start the healing process. I had a big ego. It was I wanted things my way all the time.
Okay.
And then because at that point I was so insecure with myself, I would do things to sabotage the relationship.
Wow.
And I have to talk about that simply because a lot of people don't realize they may have a great relationship, but they don't feel like they are deserving of it. So they'll do little things to sabotage the relationship, to test that mate.
Wow.
You know,
and then lose the mate.
and lose the mate. But in a sadistic sort of way, I think they convinced themselves that they wasn't deserving of it in the first place. They won't take ownership in what they did to destroy the relationship. Because then they have to admit that they are the problem.
Wow.
So
Wow. Wow.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, be honest with yourself. If you can't be honest with yourself, then who can you be honest with?
Correct.
You know, I find a lot of times people go from relationship to relationship and they attract the same type. And instead of
and they wonder why they keep getting the same kind of results. And it's like, have you really assessed who you are?
They
and what
haven't, because they're afraid. I tell people all the time, learn to become naked with you.
But I think people jump so fast, they don't even give themselves a time to breathe. Like for me, I just can't jump here to there. Like I have to take a breather for me. I don't knock nobody, but like I know the men in my family, they can't, they not gonna leave the mess they in so they know that other little situation that they working on
is better.
Is now I can't even say it's better. It's a little more secure. You know what I'm saying, Jackie? That's how the men are in my family. For me, I got to just like when we done, I'm done. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to date nobody until I'm ready to date again. Because then you find yourself, because then I feel like sometimes you're looking for those issues in that person and you ain't move that person out of you enough. I feel like you got to give time. And then I'm gonna tell you, people in my group, they seem to think differently. They seem, especially the men, they seem to think that they go and date somebody, it helps them get over the woman faster. And I don't believe that because I believe they take that baggage into that new relationship.
I hear that all the time. That's the dumbest thing.
But they say, Jackie, I'm telling my the men say it.
It's like, okay, listen, you leave one relationship. First of all, when people go from relationship to relationship without a break, they're afraid to be alone.
Right.
They are afraid
That's it right there.
to face the person that they are.
Right.
And I always ask people, would you date yourself? Because if your answer is no, why the hell do you think somebody else would be interested?
Wow, I date myself all the time because I take myself out to dinner. I take myself to the movies. I'm on a date with me all the time.
Right. But how many people, I always hear people say, why do you go to the movies by yourself? Why do you go eat? I said, because I'm pretty good damn company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know who I am, but there are so many people that haven't reached that level of comfort with self.
Correct.
So, and I feel like you do have to date yourself. You do have to do an assessment of who you are. And when you break up with someone, allow yourself time to heal.
Detox them.
Exactly.
Because you taking that toxicity into a new relationship and you don't even sometimes realize it.
And stop going into these relationships hoping that the other party can fix you. Because they can't.
Woo, that's powerful right there. Yeah, because that's what they go into that thinking, I need this person for that. And they think that because they may have good conversation, you feel like that might be the person that's going to help you. No, they're not. Yeah. You got to heal first. You can't be the good person to them if you're not healing.
Exactly. But so many are searching and they don't know what they're searching for. But the minute somebody shows interest, and you start to build the relationship, then you say, oh, he's going to be the savior of Rome.
Right. And the women do it and the men do it.
Yeah, where both parties are guilty of it.
Yes.
But take ownership of your mess.
Yes.
And a lot of times that's what we're not willing to do.
Mhm.
It's easy to point the finger.
Easy.
So when a relationship ends, you played a role in the ending of that relationship, but not a lot of people want to take responsibility for their role in the demise. So
Good stuff she giving y'all. And let's be clear, if you having some challenges in your relationship, you might want to reach out to her because it can help you. Don't go running, because I don't believe in running and going to try to find somebody else to meet you,
No, you're
because
just
they only
creating a
going to
mess.
satisfy you for a moment. They
Yeah.
only going to satisfy that quick fix.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if until you let them get into you intimately, mentally, they're just gonna be a quick fix. But you
Absolutely.
want something to heal. You heal your own relationship by getting the help.
Mhm.
It means reaching out, and like
Reaching
somebody like
out.
you who is a intimacy coach to help you, because as you said, so many people don't know who they are. And I bet you when they come and probably sit in that chair, they realize they don't know who they are. At
They
first, they
do,
don't even know they
yeah.
don't know who they are, because they feel
Mhm.
like, as you said, the ego, I'm this, I've been all that. I'm do this with my, I've been the man all the time. I've been the woman all the time. I'm good at what I do. And at the end of the day, well, do you really know who you are?
And what I find, especially in our community, we equate material success to having it together.
Say that again, Jackie. That's so true. People look at the materialistic things,
And you feel like I've made it.
but you have not.
Winning.
You're not.
I'm winning. But if your relationship is suffering,
Right.
you're not winning.
Because you can strip all of that, and what do you have?
Exactly.
And most of the time, that person and one of the persons will decide to leave because of the stripping.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to change our views on what's successful. I don't think that because you can buy yourself anything that you want, that necessarily means you're successful. You might be successful material wise, but what's your emotional chamber like?
Right. Right.
You know, how many people are actually thinking on that level? And if you're the person that's always looking for attention, I think again, you got to do some soul searching. What is it that you're seeking? And a lot of things that happen to us as children, we don't realize we take that into our relationships.
Girl, that's a major problem that I'm finding today, that people are coming back with history and they're finding out stuff about their mate that they never talked about because it never was visited, it's never been even discussed. And that has brought major issues.
It does.
Because the person never got help for what they were dealing with anyway from a child.
Right.
So then when it's resurfaced and now it's bringing issue into their relationship,
absolutely,
don't nobody want to deal with it.
Nobody wants to deal with it. And even in today's society, we're still ashamed of asking for help.
With all the help that's out here, we still have people that's
still,
ashamed.
Yeah. And I remember as a kid, I was very angry. So I applaud my mom for taking me to a psychiatrist to get to the root of my anger. I wanted to fight all the time. And I wanted to fight all the time because that's what I saw in my household. I grew up in a domestic violent household. So the way I resolved conflict was by fighting. So going to see a psychiatrist was different. My mom didn't care about what her friends and family had to say. She wanted to get help for her child. That I felt like that put me on the path to want to make a difference in other people's lives.
Awesome.
Because I saw the power that the psychiatrist had. By session, they signed me up for 10 sessions. I was like, dang, did I need all of that? But it helped,
Okay.
But by session number 5, my psychiatrist was laying on the couch telling me her problems. And I was 16 years old.
Wow.
And that let me know I'm on my path.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah. My brother
Because
said,
normally they say by that fifth session, that person have now, especially like teenagers, because
Yeah.
it take a long time for them to break the silence.
oh yeah.
And they say normally by the fifth session,
Mhm.
that's the session that they tend to feel like they are comfortable with that therapist,
Yeah.
and they'll be open a little bit with the person. They say
Yeah.
normally by that fifth session.
Mhm.
And so for that to happen, that was a reversal. You was the third.
Yeah, I felt, but she helped me. Believe it or
Awesome.
not, she helped me a lot, and I applaud her. She made a difference in my life.
Mhm.
But what I thought about, I have the ability to make people put down their guard. So
Mhm.
with her, she was so comfortable with me that she felt like she could share her problems with me, even though I
Wow.
was young. But I made her feel comfortable.
Mm.
And I learned a lot about her, and it made me understand that we each have a battle that we're fighting. I think people don't realize that whether you're a coach, psychiatrist, doctor, we all have a battle that we're fighting,
Mhm.
but not everybody is able to defeat.
Okay.
So, and a lot of it is mindset.
Right. That too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The mindset plays a major role in everything that you entail as it relates to your relationships and the
Mhm.
people you interact with, and not just an intimate relationship for as a man and a woman, but your work environment, your home environment, your church environment, all those components
Right.
play a part.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
wow.
So when you start thinking about your childhood and you're in a relationship, kind of do some soul searching
Mhm.
and ask yourself if what you saw as a child has an impact on the relationship that you're currently in.
So, like the fact that, especially when you're dealing with women or men that have been sexually assaulted as a child, even as a teenager, some have been raped, men and women, how that majorly plays a part in their relationship. So I'm sure you've probably had some clients like that. When you get clients like that, what is some of the things that you help them see to help them heal and get things back on track? Because they say, when they've been sexually assaulted, they go one extreme or the other. They either don't want to have it or they want it so much.
They want it so much. The biggest issue that I find is that they have to learn to forgive themselves because they take ownership of what happened.
Okay.
They blame themselves. They say, what did I do to encourage this?
Okay.
And so they don't understand that it's a sickness, for one. They don't understand that the person that assaulted them took advantage, but it wasn't something that they did. It's something broken in that individual. A lot of times, like if you think of the case of R. Kelly, he was molested.
Yes. And raped.
But I think when even looking at his particular case, I think that even if he got counseling, he still wasn't ready to take ownership of it.
Yes.
And that's a big deal. And then
so it's not until they take the ownership that I feel like they can be freed a little bit more.
Exactly.
They can be freed when you take ownership.
When you take ownership, you release the power that the abuser has over you. And then forgive yourself for blaming yourself. And I think that a lot of times people aren't willing to face that. The brain is a powerful thing. When somebody has trauma like that, there's an area in the brain that buries it so deep that you don't even realize you're manifesting the behavior. Sometimes what happens, people that are victims, they suffer from schizophrenia. The brain decides to create these characters to protect the victim.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tricky at times, but again, it comes down to being able to take ownership, acknowledge that you weren't at fault,
Mm-hmm.
and begin the healing process. Because once you can take ownership and forgive yourself, the healing should begin.
Mm-hmm.
I think what happens a lot of times, because people have been hurt and they're looking for the love that they didn't receive, that's the other side of it. It's like you become more promiscuous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, you're looking for that feeling that you never got. And what I find for people that were molested by family members, when they try to tell their parents or somebody, they were often blamed.
Mm-hmm.
That happens a lot in our community because the
Absolutely.
parents don't want to believe that a family member or a close friend did that to their child. So for you to heal, it probably would be a good idea for the immediate family to go to counseling together. I think that we have to stop leaving our most prized possession, which is our children, with people that we know are a little shaky, just so that we can go out and have a good time.
Right.
Not everybody that's supposed to be a close family friend is trustworthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As we find a lot in some of our families, it's some of the uncles or aunts that were molesting these children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, it was done to them.
Right. Right.
So when you tell somebody just get over it, it's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
And especially if you haven't gone through it.
Right.
You know, we want to say get over it about everything.
People don't understand where people place is and their feelings with it. And unless
Yeah.
they've gotten some help for it, you can't just tell people, oh, just get over it. Like,
Right.
you know, every day is a day. Every day you're gonna take step by step. It's a challenge every day to face whatever it is. And you know, once they get counseling, it begins the healing. But think about it, if they've been 20 years in,
Right.
you can't expect, because you got to remember they still probably reminiscing on it sometimes, consciously
Anything
and
can trigger it.
unconsciously.
Anything
It's
can
like,
trigger it.
especially if the person say something, the new spouse, the new boyfriend say something that person said, and if their voice sounds like them, if they begin to smell the scent all of a sudden. Because I know one friend who said, you know, every now and then that scent would come, even though she would not even be thinking about it. She said that scent would come till she got help. Till she got help.
Yeah.
You know, now her, you know, now it's like when it starts to come on, she almost kind of does what she can to try to block it out. But at first it used to just come on so strong. That was before she got any counseling for it. You know what I'm saying, Jakey? So but people don't realize how much even that plays a role in the intimacy with their relationship, the intimacy. Because yes, you might tell your spouse, but did y'all really get counseling? Like, that's what I find though, Jackie.
Yeah.
A woman will tell the husband or the soon-to-be husband what happened, but they don't go really get counseling.
Right.
So then now this woman and man has gotten married, and then the challenges come.
Absolutely.
He does respect her and he respects the situation. At the end of the day, because y'all didn't get any counseling with it, his patience runs out. Or begins because he doesn't understand. You know,
so it's tough. I would like to see in our community that we embrace mental health treatment a bit more. I think there are more of us that are seeking help, but there's so many more that are not.
Correct.
When I think of what we're like in our city, I feel like there's so many hurt people. I feel like there's so many people that feel like they've been given up on. And so they
gave up on themselves, and they gave up on themselves
because everybody else
has given up on them.
And so when do we start to heal?
And it has to start somewhere. And that's why, like, for me, I believe, at the end of the day, yes, we have a lot of fun on the different things like that. But like, I try my best that it is always a way of encouraging people,
Yeah.
whether throughout, because somewhere along the line, we got to begin the healing process.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we have to be what we want to see. So
Right.
therefore, you got to be, if you're an encourager, not saying you got to be an encourager, but if you one that's going to encourage people, then be wholeheartedly with it. Encourage
Absolutely.
them and try to always lead people in the right path
Right. Exactly.
versus them down the wrong path.
We have a responsibility. We forgot about community. I
Mhm.
remember when I grew up, I grew up in East Baltimore. So
Okay.
I had my neighbor to the right and left checking us. I had my neighbors behind us checking us. I feel like we gave up on our community.
Well, the people decided this thing, and I'll never forget it. When people got into this thing, Jackie, don't say nothing to my child. I'll deal with my child. That's how families got after a while, especially when teenagers, I know the teenagers that, began to be parents young in my time, they didn't want to raise their children like we were raised.
Right,
So they
right.
got into this thing is don't say nothing to my child thing.
Right.
Don't talk to my child. Don't reprimand my child. Where your mother had the right to beat me, Jackie.
Right.
I could come to her house, your house, and she could beat me, and I probably would take her beating before I had to deal with my crazy mother.
okay.
So I'ma just be honest with you. I ain't want to deal with my crazy mother and them. So guess what? And like I grew up in an environment like love my grandmother dearly. God rest her soul today. She died, but my grandmother, she ain't play. Like she was really hard on us girls. So she was strict. She didn't play, but I thank God for that strictness. Because even still, I diverted, but because of the strictness, it still kept me from going so far.
Yeah,
It kept me from going so far. You know what I'm saying,
You're
Jackie?
absolutely right. Because I was the wild child. And I was a tomboy, so I love playing with boys.
Oh, I can't tell. I would never. Y'all know I ain't never seen her have that little hard look. You know how sometimes you can have somebody look. She ain't never. She always. They talk about me being diva-ish. That's always diva.
But it's funny because when I got my cycle, I was 9 years old.
Okay.
And so at that time, parents wasn't having the talk with the children. So the extent, when I got my period, I thought I was dying because I didn't know anything about it. And
okay.
I remember going.
Mine just gave me some pads and said, okay, this is what you got to put on. They ain't give no conversation about
it. She did that. But what she also said was, you can no longer play with boys, as if playing with boys, I was going to get pregnant.
Wow.
And here, take this pad that's like a dick in the front and back.
Now that's the first time. Now I heard that say about the tampons, but I ain't never heard that about the pads, y'all. Oh my gosh, they be like, it's almost like you putting it in you, and I'm like, I was like, no, I ain't want that.
It's sticking because when I'm 53, so the pads was so long. So it would be sticking out a little bit in the front, sticking out a little bit in the back, and they had the little belt that you had to, it was just, I'm so glad things have evolved
and changed.
But that was the extent of my conversation. So because I always hung with older people, that's how I learned what the actual period thing was.
The administration, menstrual, your administration.
Yeah.
That's what my grandmother used to say. She didn't say period. They said administration. That's what my grandmother used to say.
So, and it's funny because I have an 11-year-old granddaughter who got her period at 9. So we had a period party for her.
Okay.
So it was myself, her mom, and her other grandmother.
Okay.
We wanted to arm her with knowledge and love.
Awesome. Yeah. That's good that you ladies were all on the same page because so many people are not on the same page with those type of things. And like I said, we were just grown up, hey, use this, and that was it. Like, what's this? You don't even explain here, use this, and that's all they tell you.
I don't even like how long it is. Why do I have to use that?
Right.
So things have changed. I think in my family, because my parents didn't talk about a lot of different things, we broke the cycle with our children.
Okay.
There's nothing. I have a 31-year-old son. There is absolutely nothing that we can't talk about.
Awesome.
So, and I remember when I kept hearing this noise in the room, and I'm like, what the heck is he doing in there? So he was trying to put on a condom.
Oh, he was trying to figure it out.
Yeah. I was like, hold up. I'm going to show you how to do this.
With the banana. With the banana.
Vibrator.
Oh.
So
wow.
The first thing he says, what are you doing with that? I was like, hold up. This isn't about me right now. I'm trying to help you out.
Oh, she went there. Oh, that was too funny. Okay.
So, and there again, it's like we have to break the cycle. We can't keep holding on to my parents didn't show me this, or they didn't talk to me about that. When you have your own children, you create your own traditions.
Your own path, right.
You know, if you keep taking ownership of what you didn't have or what you didn't learn, we debilitate the next generation.
Okay.
And we have to stop it.
Absolutely,
we have to
absolutely,
stop it.
absolutely, and that's true facts right there, Jackie. Because so many people are, we stun our children's growth, and I know because it happens because people are afraid. And it's so sad. My mom and them always was like, do better than I did.
Yeah.
But some people are fine with their family being stagnant right where they are.
Yeah.
They're fine. Like
and
stay in that comfort zone.
Generation
After
after generation.
Yep.
And you wonder why we are stuck in some facets of our life. We have the power to do anything we set our mind to. When you spend time posting these dumb videos about the housewives and things of that magnitude, we have so much information at our fingertips. Why are we wasting it on that BS? You know, and then we're teaching our kids to do the same thing. And even when you start thinking in terms of intimacy and touching one another, we spend so much more time touching our devices than we are each other.
And that is so true because people have gotten away from the intimacy of eating together, doing things together. And, you know, honestly, one of the things that's a pet peeve for me is watching on Facebook when somebody fix a pretty plate of dinner. And I'm like, you cook that and put it on a paper plate? And don't get me wrong, I'm not against paper plates, y'all. I'm not against paper plates. But I feel like if you're going to put it on Facebook, make it look pretty. Like, make it look pretty for that. You know that if y'all decide y'all going to eat, if you're going to eat on paper plate every day, that's your house. I don't care. But if you're going to put it on Facebook, at least put it on a plate, you know, so that, you know, it's about that. Like, you want to showcase this, but is that tacky or not tacky? You know what I'm saying? Those kind of things. And so, you know, you're just speaking facts though, Jackie, and I tell you, people really need to take heed to the intimacy of life, not just a relationship, but themselves, let alone when it comes to others in your life that makes those relationships better. And I just believe that's why, you know, part of the reason that God has not blessed me, because he has not found someone who has the same intimacy level that I'm at now. You know what I'm saying, Jackie? Because you done now grown to that level. And then because I know, and I believe that because I've dated people since I've been separated, divorced, and you know, all of that. I've dated people, but when you really sit back, you like, they really were not where I was. I tolerated that because it was a few little things. That representative I fell for. I fell for that representative. And then I realized they really weren't.
They wasn't.
They really weren't.
A lot of things because listen, and I say this all the time. People tell you and they show you who you are. You choose to turn the blind eye. I feel like the more you allow somebody to talk, the more they tell you who they are. But we choose to,
because we fall for that representative for a little bit. So you when you fall for the representative, and then when the real them come out, you're like, wait a minute,
like, who is that?
That is not who I fell for.
Exactly. Exactly.
And and I'm telling you, it never fails though, Jackie.
Right.
And then when you really, because like that's when I take that time when the relationship is over. That's when I
Yeah.
sit back, and you know how you sit back and you assess.
Uh-huh.
I sit back and I assess
Mhm.
me
Yeah.
and my role,
Mhm.
what I accepted, what I tolerated.
Right. Right.
And it's like, Angela, in the beginning, they really, you tolerated some of that because they were nice. You fell for the
That's it.
representative. You
That's
fell,
it right
but then
there.
when that side of them came out, you like, they really not where you are.
Yeah.
When you start really digging into it, they really, and it's not that you feel like you on such a level high like that or anything like that.
Right.
It's just that you know what you're looking for, and that
Mhm.
they're not even meeting it.
They're
And
not
you've done
even
wasting it,
meeting
and
it
you
at,
think
at 25%.
right,
you
right,
know?
Jackie, and then you
Yeah.
find yourself like, okay, but I guess I
Like, why
could
am I
work with it,
settling?
right? But then you find, and because then people sit and like we've had this question in the hot topics group, are you if the sex is? I think it was one of our questions was if the sex is not that great, but they treat you really good,
Mhm.
would you stay?
You can teach them.
Even with the ones that you've tried to teach. Like,
Well,
it has its pros and
It
cons
does.
there.
I agree. I think if sex is an issue, I think that you can always teach if they
Right.
are open-minded to receive the information.
Correct.
If they are not, then you're wasting your time. Why should you continue to be in a relationship where you're unfulfilled?
Right. That's my whole, that's
Yeah.
where my place is with it,
Yeah.
Jackie, is that I don't believe people should stay in an unhappy relationship. Now,
I
I
agree.
believe you should get help now. I believe
Mhm.
you should do all the means of trying to better the relationship. But if you
Right.
are just absolutely just unhappy,
Right.
like they just don't do nothing for you, have just lost all anything in you for them, then that's something different. But if
Yeah.
there's a inkling of a hope, like an inkling of a hope that y'all could go to get some counseling, go and get some help, I
Mhm.
believe people should try it.
I agree.
I
agree.
totally believe people should try it,
Right. I
because
agree.
I'm not one who give up.
Mhm.
Like just walk away and say, "Bomb, just let it go." I
Yeah.
believe you should at least put some effort.
Yeah.
Some effort.
And I think it's funny because I think sometimes you have to be willing to shake things up in the
Right.
relationship. You have to get their attention.
Right.
Um,
But what about when you try to get the attention and those kind of shakeups just destroy everything? Then it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be. And if I had to put myself on the front line, a few years ago, many people don't know this, but we separated
Mm-hmm.
because I began to feel like I was suffocating in the relationship and he wasn't getting it. And this is what I find with older men, because we're 12 years apart.
Okay.
I find that they equate the idea that they are providing to winning in the marriage. They're providing, but they're not giving you that emotional support. And a lot of men feel like, what more does she want? Well, if you're providing, but I'm still
feeling empty or
empty.
feeling lost or feeling something missing.
Yeah, we're not winning. Because I'm drowning here.
Mhm.
So I left. And it was to get his attention. And he didn't understand that. So it took a while for him to get it. But my thing was, if I left my safety net, obviously we have a problem here. And I can't continue to sink into this well of depression because then I'll lose myself. So I think after some time apart, I think he finally started to understand how I felt and was willing to put the work in. And that worked for me. I'm not saying for everybody out here to try that, but in my mind, I kept saying sometimes you have to shake things up in order to rebuild, and to get the changes that you need. You have to wake them up because people get so complacent and they start to equate the years together as we're winning. But if the years together, if we're together 20 plus years and the last 10, I've been dying inside.
Wow. Powerful.
Yeah. Don't
Mhm.
stay because of the years that you have in.
Yeah, because I had some friends recently,
Mhm.
Jackie. It was crazy because 2 of them had been married like 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And I was like, did y'all go to count? My thing is I'm all for the optimism of
Right.
trying to fix everything.
Right, and
I
it's
know I'm a
okay.
fixer. I
It's
have that
okay,
in me.
yeah.
But it was like, did y'all try everything? Did
Yeah.
y'all go get some counseling? What is it? Like,
Yeah.
that's where I was with it, because it's like, you done stuck in here all these years. What is it like? And when they began to explain, and they were both women, and they were 2 different women, they weren't even friends. So when I heard, they weren't even girlfriends, they don't even know each other.
Okay.
And so when I basically heard almost the same story from 2 different women who were never friends, if they walked in this room right now, and they wouldn't even know each other from Jump
Right,
Street,
okay.
okay? And to hear almost the exact same story,
Mhm.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, Jackie. That's all I could say
Mhm.
was wow, because you sitting back thinking like, who in the world at this point?
Yeah.
Like, who?
But I think what happens a lot of times, people stay because they are taught that you stay.
You stick and stay. You
stick and
hang
stay.
in there, you make it work,
Yeah.
and and you're right. That's
Mhm.
just what we've been taught to do. And I come from a background of that. Like
Mhm.
you stick and stay.
Yeah. And back in the day when the men strayed, the women always say, "Oh, that's just what men do." No, that's bullshit. I don't feel like we have to accept that. Yeah.
Right. I don't
It's
believe
a
that.
different day and age now. They accepted it because most of the time the men were the breadwinners. The
Mhm.
women didn't work. They raised the children. So if you have a woman with 4 or 5 kids, where is she going to go with no income?
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
So things change. We have to evolve. I think that sometimes people that's been married a long time, they equate the years as, we're doing pretty good. They're not willing to shake things up. They want to
Mhm.
keep things the same. But life is more than just existing.
Right.
You have to
right.
live.
Right.
You have to want to do better. Sometimes in those relationships, one party evolves, the other stays the same.
And how do they handle that though, Jackie? Because when you're dealing with that, because I've seen that, and I've had people come to me because, and it could be one or the other.
Yeah.
The man is evolving or the woman's evolving.
Yeah.
How do you coach them through those processes? Because like when they come to me, I'm just trying to like fix. And I'm like, I'm not your doctor, your therapist. I'm just, because like you said, one or the other will come as your friend. So you can't say nothing to the other person because they'll feel like, oh my gosh, he told her that.
Yeah.
I know that's his good girlfriend, but dang, he had to tell her what's going on in our house.
Right.
Those kind of things. How do those kind of situations evolve though, Jackie?
You have to get them to have a conversation with one another.
Right.
Create a list of what you value in the other person, and then create another list on what direction you would like the relationship to go into. And I guarantee you, when you get that second list, both their answers are opposite. And there's your problem right there. Because you all aren't on the same level.
Page.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. And I've seen it because you can't talk to both, so you can't always, because again, it's confidentiality. So you're trying to be the friend.
Right.
But like I said, unless y'all gonna go get counseling or get a mediator, it's gonna be hard for y'all to fix and heal this. I tell people that all the time.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with getting counseling, healing to
Not
help
at
your relationship.
all. We all
It
need
helps,
help
right?
at
It
one
helps
time
the
or another.
relationship.
Mhm.
It helps the
It
relationship.
does. It does. Sometimes it's hard for the two people involved to effectively communicate their feelings because somebody's going on the defense.
all the time. One or the other. And it could be the man, it could be the
Yeah,
woman.
exactly.
Either
Because they
one
look
of
at it
them.
like a personal attack.
Right.
And,
yes.
And when they look at it that way, a lot of it has to do with our presentation. If we present as we are bashing, it's not going to be received well.
Right.
So your presentation is everything.
And that's why I believe, like you said early in the show, you said you have to marry or be in a relationship with your friend.
Yes.
And I feel like when you are in a relationship with your friend, you should be able to talk about anything and it does not offend them.
Right.
And again, it is depending on how you say it, because we can be very untactful with the tongue. The tongue is, a little extra sometimes. So sometimes we have to be careful how we bring it. But I believe if your friend really knows you, they know when you are. I believe if they really know you, they know when you're being attackful and when they are really trying to help a situation. So that should make a difference. But when you are with your friend, you should be able to and I'm gonna tell you, that was one of the disappointing things when I started going through in my marriage, was because I always knew my ex-husband and I were really good friends.
Right.
And when it got to it, I don't know where at the breakdown where our friendship got lost.
Right.
Because I felt like, and we could talk about anything. Like that was one of the things that I thought was going to carry us through.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Jackie? That I thought that was going to carry us through because we were such good friends. Like we could talk about like it was nothing. I thought we couldn't talk about.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying, Jackie? But that wasn't the case, because somewhere along the line, the friendship breakdown got lost.
And I think when that happens, a lot of times ego can destroy nations.
Egos have destroyed nations.
So think about this.
I believe the one we got right now is destroying us.
Think about this for a second. When you feel like you are doing something big to benefit the relationship, because you've convinced yourself of this, you have detached yourself from your friend. Because your goal and your dreams become bigger than the relationship and the friendship.
Wow.
So I think a lot of times we don't see, when we're caught in the midst of it, we don't see the changes that take place. Yeah.
Wow. Woo! Wow, this has been a good show, y'all. I can't tell y'all didn't come with the questions, but I can assure you her services are, available to you. If you desire to, need to help heal and fix your relationship, I would suggest that you contact her. Jackie, give all your information. This has been a great show tonight. I truly have enjoyed you. Give your information, how people can get in contact with you if they need your services as it relates to intimacy coaching and all the other stuff that she did. Because she does a lot, y'all, but she's a wonderful, more than anything, she is just such a wonderful person. And as she has said, even in part of the show, how she, make people feel very comfortable and being in her space. And that's what I definitely respect. And that's how we connected so well, because I believe we both have very similar, very similar life as it relates to how we think, what we say. I mean, our thoughts and our mindsets just run so simultaneously almost. It's scary because we haven't been friends but about a year or so. And it's like just a little over a year we've been friends, and how we've connected is just been mind-boggling to me, because it's just a constant good connection with her, and our intimacy and friendship has ever evolved. So it is definitely truly a pleasure. So give all the information for people who might want to get your services, Jackie.
Okay, you can email me at she'sthequeen@queenjackie.net. You can reach me by phone at 410-571-4691. If you're on Instagram, you can follow me at Queen_Jackie, A at the end. And if you want to tune into the Intimacy Chronicles, we're on every Tuesday from 7 to 8:30 p.m. on www.mixstation.com. We're on iTunes, iHeart, and YouTube. So don't hesitate if you have a question that you want to ask. I'm very private, so I don't share your information. So anything that you share would be confidential. My goal is to help people put intimacy back into their relationship, but it first starts with you. So that is definitely key. I'm so honored to have been here and to share in the worldwide flavor network community.
Yeah,
And I hope
thank
that
you.
this was very educational, and it was definitely enjoyable for me. And I don't know everything, but I'm willing to share what I do know.
And that is true. We don't know everything, but we do try to share what we have. And I thank you, Jackie, because I did share this on our Hot Topics page. So I'm hoping people will, go back and tune in as well. Those who were not able to tune in on the whole show, but we've had a good mix of people on the line with us, and so I truly appreciate your information and the diversity that you bring to the table as it relates to intimacy coaching as well as the Intimacy Chronicles. If you've never seen it, it's a funny, good show. They have a good time. They have some real hot topics. Y'all like my hot topics group. Y'all would love listening to their show because they have some raw, uncut stuff.
Raw.
They are raw and uncut, but it's fun. I enjoy it and I watch it every week. Even if I don't watch it live, I watch the replay, but I watch it every week because it's very intriguing, but it also is very informational. And so that's what we're about, getting information out here. And so however we have to begin to heal families, to help lifestyles, relationships, whatever it is, that's what we have to start. And I believe our community is what they hear and what they see. So now that we are a part of what we hear and what we see, because we are radio hosts, she is a radio host as well. So therefore we are the community. So the best way we can make a difference is by what we give out, the information we give out, what we share. Now that may not be to everybody's liking, but we're going to do what we can in the community in which we are a part of. And so therefore that can help many people. You never know what you may hear on my show, her show, our stations, that may be a benefit and a blessing to you, just as we are now on our Worldwide Flavor Network website. You can go there and we're streaming on all of our platforms as well, Periscope, YouTube, as well as Facebook. You can join us at any time. You can go back and look at all of our shows, and you can also go to Mixcloud and listen to our shows. So if you want to go back and just listen to a show, you can go back and listen. Go to the website. The website has everything on there. And now if you have Roku, you can look at YouTube on Roku, and you can watch our shows live or replay on the Roku. So we're just trying to get information out there, and that's for all of our different shows that we have on our platforms, not just here, but also on the other stations as well. And so we're just here to hopefully enlighten. Yes, some things can be raw and uncut on some stations, but just enjoy it, and that it could help teach you something. That's just how I look at it. And so tonight we got coming up at 10 o'clock, Anika Tells All. She's always, having something good coming on. And then we have tomorrow night, we have Friday Night Live. They're coming up on Friday night. And then we'll have Sunday. You have Baltimore Flavor Gospel. Yours truly is the host on that. And then we also have Diva Talk, Real Talk with Diva Nay on Sunday at 2 p.m. So we got a nice lineup for the rest of the week as well as for next week. Feel free to join us. Again, go to our website and you can find out when every show was started. We did start our new sports show on this week. So if you did not catch our sports show, go back and listen. They were really, really good. And they were some really great guys and enjoyed themselves on their first show this past Tuesday. So we hope that you will continue to join us. Join us next week for Hot Topics Live here on the Worldwide Flavor Network. Know that I love you, but God loves you better than I ever could. Have a blessed and wonderful rest of the week. Bye.